best movies of 2022, Screen Fame fans. I know we've been behind the eight ball, but this new year of 2023, we're going to get more active and more involved, and we're going to get it more involved with the memberships. So we'll let you know when we have things that can be required and set up for the membership. Now, uh, the Banshees of Inisherin with Tom Farrell and an epic performance of just great peril. I mean, they're two guys living on an island, and while on this island, the Banshees of the Inisherin, rather, is two best friends who are on this island together. They're not alone on the island, but they live on a deserted island. They've been best friends for an eternity. So it's a lot of honorable mentions, but let's just go through the list first. They have been best friends forever. So he just doesn't understand why his best friend doesn't want to be friends with him anymore. And he's very vague. And this is great performances, and you find out why as the story goes on. They're actually nice and cordial to one another. You just don't want to be his friend no more. So he can't understand it, and he's really confused by it. So I don't want to tell too much because it ends up ruining the great picture. You know, great performances all around the board. The girl from Better Call Saul is on there, you know, and everybody's going through the stories. He's trying to figure out why, and it gets more and more bizarre as it goes on, and it gets darker as these two former friends who've been lifetime friends are about to implode. So it's a breakup story of two friends, and you don't really know why until it starts twists and turns. Definitely 10 on the list. Easily number 10. Now, a lot of people will have probably the same 10 movies or different 10 movies, but they'll pretty much be the same. As it wasn't a lot of films that was released, a lot of the films were at home for you to watch. And believe me, a lot of them will be probably not in the same order. Some people, this might be number one on their list. That just shows you how close that they were this year with the movies. Number 9, I got The Menu with Ralph Fiennes. The Menu is a classic movie which details society and everything about the world and how wrongly treated, you know, a lot of the people were that was on this island, the rich, and how they treat the people that actually prepare the food for them. It's actually a very interesting tale of society, and it wasn't done in a boring way. It wasn't a gore fest. It was actually very funny, and John Leguizamo once again gave an outstanding performance in this film, and very interesting. It's now on HBO Max, so if you didn't see it at the movie theater, you can watch it at home. As The Menu is very interesting, very well directed, and a lot of great performances was delivered in there with a lot of messages, and it's very subtle, so you can make your own observation and own decisions and you know, theories on how you want to perceive it. Number 8 is a little bit more tricky, a little bit more complex of a movie. Now, a lot of people didn't see this film, and I'm one of the people that saw it after the fact, meaning that I saw it later on when a lot of other people saw it, you know, probably at a premiere or some sort. And some people hadn't seen it at all, so it's probably not on their list. But if everyone who has seen this movie knows that Tar is definitely Kate Blanchett. She's always playing an Oscar worthy performance. And Tar is definitely a top 10 movie to watch because it completely blows your mind as you're watching. It's almost like a two-person story. Like it's mostly always two people seem to be talking. She's a music conductor. Her last name just happens to be Tar. So the fact that her last name is Tar, it puts people in a different perspective because she's a music conductor who's very cruel to people, and she doesn't really know it. She's so self-absorbed and being a music conductor that no one really notices it and around her where she doesn't notice it, but everyone else does. And it leads to this cancel culture. And you start to see how the world comes apart and you see both sides of the cancel culture. It is very epically done. The shots, the direction, everything in this movie is great. It's a 4-star performance by Kate Blanchett. And definitely Tar should be on everyone's list to watch. If you find it on a streaming network or any way around the globe, you should watch it. It tells you a lot about cancel culture and how it plays out, and you decide for yourself, do she need to be canceled or not? Number 7 is one that probably wasn't on a lot of people's list, but it was on mine. It was on mine. And not too many people, I don't think, have it on their list. I don't like to watch people's lists a lot of times because I don't want it to influence mine. But sometimes, you know how you might forget a movie, be, oh snap, I forgot that movie because it was so early in the year or so late in the year. Um, for me, it was an entirely different list because a lot of people went for the artsy fartsies. You know, they like those type of films, and other people didn't watch the artsy fartsies, so they didn't see those. Now, for me, it's different because I don't really go with the artsy fartsy like that, but I understand greatness when I see it. So, what I was able to witness was something dramatic. So, the black phone crushes at number 7. Absolutely. The Black Phone is one of those films that was a standout for horror. And you're caught in the 1980s where there was a performance that was beyond all recognition altogether by Ethan Hawke, all the characters, and you had the feel of the early 80s or late 70s where this type of activity was happening. There wasn't cell phones, there wasn't, and kids were missing, and all of this mystery of what is going on, why is he doing it, can they find him, can they locate him, what's going on with this black phone, and the mystery of it. And it's so much in there, and it's so much details missing that it keeps you engaged in the film. Number 6 on the list. And number 6 is one of my favorites and my guilty pleasure film, The Batman. Robert Pattinson crushed this movie. I loved it to death. I was stunned at how much they were able to actually illustrate in this film, and I was very much so appreciative of the way it went down. Um, oh, without a doubt, it was The performance of the guy who played the Riddler, it was just the Batman was keen to be one of the greatest visually looking Batmans we've seen, from grit and grime and the music score. I've seen the Batman numerous times at the movie theater and was blown away each and every time. So that is number 6 on the list, is the Batman. And tied to me because they it was a toss up on which would be number 5. Number 5 is RRR, Rise, Roar, and Rebel. And this is the Indian film, and normally Indian films don't make the list. But this film was so amazing in scope and action, and it's a musical, but the action scenes are intense. It's a lot of dancing. It's a great story. A girl is kidnapped by a town's, king and queen. Basically, they could do what they want. And even though it was wrong, the British came in there and the Indians decided to fight to go get the girl back. This movie was epic, of epic proportions, of scale, of action scenes, visual stunning. It's just too damn long. But it is amazing to watch all the scenes. You will be blown away by RRR and all the flipping and going back and forth. You can't miss it. Now, number 4 is my guilty pleasure film. Probably not on a lot of people's films list, but it's on mine. And oh, buddy, is it on mine. Well, the reason why it's on mine is because when I saw it, I didn't expect it to be like, how you go into a film and there's no real buzz about that film whatsoever? That was me. I went into this with no real buzz whatsoever about the film, and whatever was going to be was going to be. So it didn't really like capture my attention. So everyone else has their outlook on what they think a great movie is and what it should be and what it should details. And for me, it was entirely a different performance. That is the Northman. So the Northman at number 4 is by far one of the most incredible films made. The Northman surprised the living hell out of me. Do you want to talk about Conan the Barbarian? This was it times 10. Robert Eggers came through in a huge way with the Northman. Nicole Kidman had a great monologue performance. This is ness at its core. This is great acting at its core. This movie is about all their beliefs, their gods, their spirituality, brutality, everything. The Northman is worth the price of admission. And the final scene is two naked men fighting on a volcano with spears and shields. I said, this is crazy as hell, and definitely Vikingness to the core, based on supposedly true events of ancient times in the North. The Northman is incredible and out this damn world. Now, number 3 is Everything Everywhere at Once. Visually stunning film that it seems like about 4 movies going off at one time, and normally those movies don't work. This movie worked. And the reason why it worked is because everyone involved had a direction. They knew where they wanted to go and how to get there. And to see Data from Indiana Jones and the Goonies back on the screen was great. Day one, there he is. He was back on the screen. And you got people jumping into other dimensions. You got all these things going on. And all of the messages is telling you to enjoy and appreciate every day of life you have on this earth. And that's basically it. That is the absolute goal of the movie. Appreciate life and each second that you have to breathe on this planet. That is the message. And it's a very visually stunning message. So definitely number 3 on my list. Number 2, and it's probably, prisoner of the moment, but number 2 is definitely Avatar, The Way of Water. And the reason why it's number 2 is because Avatar blew my mind. The hype and everything that comes along with it, The Way of Water, and everybody's there watching it. It's visually stunning from the moment you see it. The story is there, but the grit. I was shocked that this was for kids. I said, no way is this for kids. This is too adult for even children. It is intense. And I said, wow, it is visually stunning but intense. And that alone put it on a scale to take it to a whole nother level. It's incredible. And I couldn't believe it with all the hype. Normally those movies don't live up to their mark. And I think it definitely defeated the first Avatar. Now, here we go. Number 1 on the list, ladies and gentlemen. Now we talking number 1 on the list. Let's go into all the things that comes along with it. Honorable mentions. Honorable mentions, you could say Pinocchio, the Guillermo del Toro, Pinocchio. Not that Tom Hanks one that they put on Disney. What is another one that should have been on the list that really wasn't, that could have been on the list? I think my list is quite solid. A lot of people like The Fabelmates. I did not. It's a movie called Vengeance that could have made it. Babylon would have probably made it on some people's list. The Triangle of Sadness, that was a pretty interesting movie. Let me see. That's about it I could think of off the top of my head. Now, if I gotta go in for my best movie of, well, hell, we all know what the best movie is. God damn it, it's Top Gun. Top Gun Maverick is the best movie of 2022, hands down. No movie beat this movie. I saw that movie at the theater I don't know how many times. Top Gun Maverick is it. There is no ifs, no ands, no buts, no doubts. Top Gun, from the moment I saw it, I knew I was watching the best movie. And everybody was talking about the hype. There wasn't a lot of hype for this. A lot of people thought this movie was going to fail. COVID pushed it back a whole year, and everybody was like, the expectations for this movie wasn't there. And oh, buddy, this movie crushed all expectations. All of them. So on that note alone, Top Gun is definitely the best movie of 2022. It's your boy Carcino out here saying thank you for following Screen Fiend. Thank you for following me and subscribing and rocking with me. We're going to keep coming and delivering you the best. I'm out.